Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm James, my pronouns are they and them.
I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
And I'm Alasdair, my pronouns are also he and him.
No Jamie. Jamie's busy with another podcast.
He's got a note from his mum. So.
Yeah.
How much we can trust a note from his mum, I don't know though.
Yeah, he said he was going to go out for cigarettes, but we haven't seen him in a while, you know.
So, Jamie has fucked off to do a piece at home instead, because Jamie, as always, is an organisational god. In his stead, he is the notes that the one time that Jamie did notes, he's not here to fucking deliver them. So he has sent the notes to James. I don't know what this episode is at all. I'm completely fucking blind. Very fucking anxious. Only here by the good grace of fucking medication. James, what are we doing?
Well, Jamie might have been eaten by the dog, but I've got his homework. So, let's go through it. To start us off, I thought since you're here, Alasdair, I'd add a little thing to Jamie's notes, and I've got some good news. Since you missed our Andor recording, I thought I would share with you updates from Wikipedia.
Oh, fuck's sake.
That is right, motherfucker.
Yeah, I've also got a note from my mum saying that I can't be on tonight's recording.
Yeah, what's this doctor's note?
He's allergic to Wookiee.
The fur makes me come out in hives.
Well, this isn't specific to Wikipedia. It's actually all of the wikis which are hosted on the rather interesting website which you may have come across called Fandom. Fandom basically went around as a company and bought up every single Wikipedia for every
and made
piece
them
of
all
fan
dog
content.
shit, because apparently the technology to make a wiki is decades away.
Yeah,
Is it that shithouse wiki that, like, if you're like me and you're bad at video games, you get stuck on something, you get, like, they all look exactly the same and they're all as fucking shit.
Yep, they're all yellow and 90% ads, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, they got even worse, including Wikipedia, because they decided to implement some new technology. They decided that they were going to have AI involved in the wiki.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
And didn't bother to consult any of the wiki editors for any of the fandoms before they pulled the trigger on this.
All the wikis now vociferously anti-circumcision for some reason.
It makes me wish I'd actually looked up the Silent Hill one to check that. No, it's worse than that. This was first noticed with the Hollow Knight wiki, because that's a hard game and people are on it all the time. As it turns out, they've implemented a wiki feature called Quick Answers. And the way this works is on each page it gives common questions and quick answers auto-generated by the AI based on the page content, or mostly based on the page content. And unfortunately,
there's also a little bit of X factor in there that could just be anything.
Yep. So what's great about this is they gave no ability to switch this off or to edit it to the editors.
Oh boy!
So all the editors who are vociferous fan people, obviously, log on to their Wikipedia with their morning "I love Star Wars" like coffee mug, only to discover that all their carefully curated
No, it's not. It's
pages
not an "I love Star Wars" coffee mug. It's a Darth Vader fucking coffee mug, and it's the only thing they drink out of.
It's
Absolutely.
a Zeltron coffee mug, and they put something else in it.
But yeah, so they all log on to discover that their finely maintained, lovingly crafted pages had been shat all over by AI. And it was all of them, absolutely all of them. And I've got some highlights here. So if you've played the game Hades, which is a wonderful little game where you play as Zagreus, Hades' son, attempting to escape the underworld, there's a lovely little bit summary. Common question: did Hades love Zagreus? The AI writes, Hades loves Zagreus like an older brother. Despite their differences, Plutus loves Zagreus like a younger brother, and Macaria adores her younger brother with all of her heart and will do anything for him when she can. Persephone also loves Zagreus and returns it tenfolds.
Okay, so is this like the slash fic crossover? Because that was like a jumble of words where I just like, yeah.
People who studied classics are fucking livid right now.
Yeah, no. The thing is, it has absolutely nothing. Here's a good one from Hollow Knight. Since you asked about, like, you know, that kind of stuff, Rob, on the page for Hornet on Hollow Knight, a common question was, who is Hornet shipped with? The AI decided that was a relevant question, and said, Hornet is shipped with Yorktown, in brackets, her older sister, Enterprise, in brackets, her older sister, and
with
the Eagle
Yorktown.
Union.
Sorry, have I lost my mind, or is this one of these things where is this like city twinning, where like people like
Rob,
just go on a fucking jolly?
No, Rob, it's not. No, it's worse.
It's worse. Like, the AI is just pulling shit out of its arse from nowhere to try and fill stuff in. It was a catastrophic failure that just led to rampant misinformation. And
how do I ask this a question?
You don't. It's just auto-generated. It's like the AI reads the page and then goes, what are common questions people would want to answer by reading this page, and then attempts to answer them itself.
Yeah, I love to go onto the fucking Tears of the Kingdom wiki to look at how you make bombs or whatever, and it's just like giving you the fucking recipe on how to make explosives.
Yeah.
Common question of how to make pipe bombs.
Well, it's pretty wonderful. Clearly, essentially, the owners of fandom want to get rid of the pesky human editors who spend all their time and labour for free uploading information to help their fellow like gamers and nerds. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So as of time of recording, this has now been taken back down, but not after causing catastrophic confusion and a total meltdown on Wikipedia, from what I hear.
BBC headline, catastrophic confusion on Wikipedia.
Pretty much. So that's. I thought I would just sneak that one in. Turning now to what Jamie has left us, however, steeping on the topic of like nerd shit in video games, Microsoft have announced a revised bid to buy Activision Blizzard after their original proposal was knocked back by UK regulators.
Oh yeah, and so it's okay now because the US said it's fine because they're gonna like release what is it, Modern Warfare from the cloud or to the cloud. Oh no, it's something to do with Sony. That's what. I've got it.
Jamie has very kindly left us the details. We talked about this before, and it was a huge blow to both Microsoft and the British government. And Jamie's written here, who wants to be a world leader in the tech space, which obviously means letting tech firms do what they fucking please. Thank you, Jamie. But yeah, so essentially, their plan has always been and remains to herd popular franchises into a big field marked Xbox and then erect a fence around it. Which is interesting, it surprised us all when the UK regulators decided to actually regulate this. But since America said, no, we're actually okay with this is fine, Microsoft responded to these concerns with a concession. The exclusive rights to Activision games will be given to Ubisoft for the next 15 years.
That's some fucking, out of the fire into the frying pan bullshit.
Sorry, Jamie's
give it to the clawing vampires at Ubisoft who, like, for some reason will jam even more microtransactions into it.
It's okay, Rob. Jamie's actually made some annotations here. He says, wait, I skipped a few words. The exclusive rights to stream Activision games from the cloud will be given to Ubisoft for the next 15 years. As we know, cloud gaming is a perfect platform for competitive PvP shooter like Call of Duty, so nobody will be compelled to buy any Xboxes.
Yeah, and remind me again, how's Stadia doing, or whatever the fuck that thing was called?
Robust, well, healthy, living a time of its life, from what I understand. Definitely not 6 feet under.
Stadia service is no longer available. Thanks for playing.
Yeah. There you go. It turns out you can get around anything if you just get a bigger boy to come along and tell the bully to go away.
That's fucking incredible, though. Like, they had Modern Warfare, which was already shit, off to Ubisoft, and then, like, they give all the Blizzard games to fucking Microsoft. This is going to be so good, and all the Blizzard games are so good already. This is going to be really amazing.
Just like, park in the car for a second.
That fucking racist pig monster of a Bobby Kotick's going to get a payday out of this, isn't he?
He is. He absolutely is. So I've got two things going on. Number one is I've got a friend who is involved with the parent company for Bethesda, ZeniMax, and it's kind of interesting because they were bought out by like Microsoft back in the day, and so it's interesting to hear about like behind the scenes changes. And essentially, Microsoft doesn't really care so much about like all they care about is are the products getting shipped, basically, and beyond that, they're prepared to like give them a free hand.
Are you trying to tell me that Microsoft just wants to make money?
Yeah, as it turns out. So this move by Kotick, etc., is like not the worst in the world. They'll basically get to keep things going, but all the executives will get a really fat paycheck for it. So, what's the downside? The kind of second component to this is I've not been playing, but I've been paying attention to Diablo 4, and it just looks like a clusterfuck already. And not Diablo Immortals, the like shitty mobile game, but the actual Diablo 4. It looks like it's loot boxed and monetized to hell, which one only imagines is just going to get worse under the new Microsoft kind of ownership. So
is that
great.
Is that the one where like you only had to misclick and then you'd made some actual real money purchase with one click?
It is.
Fucking you.
They intentionally is very obvious. They set this thing up so that you could basically buy season passes, but we didn't call it that. And they set it up so that when making your progress on like in-game like treadmill that you have to do, periodically you need to check back to this page to review what it is you got to do next. And they made it that every time you access that page, the button to buy like the season pass is the default selection, and it's one-click purchase, no confirmation or anything.
Incredible.
So that it's happened on multiple streamers live, causing several of them to just quit and go fuck this. All of them. But the interesting thing is many of them were saying like we would have bought the streaming pass, but we were waiting to buy it for a particular time of the month so we get the most benefit out of it. And the fact that we've been conned into buying it early means that essentially we've spent money we're not going to get the benefit from, and fuck them, essentially. And a whole bunch of devs on Twitter were basically going, yeah, this is very obviously intentional. There's no way.
Sharp lesson why they should all be playing fucking Path of Exile instead.
It kind of is, honestly. So yeah, no, that's fine. Don't worry. Like Microsoft and Ubisoft have got our backs, right? It's got soft in the name. I'm sure they're very gentle and woolly and friendly. Mm-hmm. Speaking of gentle and woolly and friendly, how about radiation for the next topic? So the decommissioning of the Fukushima nuclear reactor is going to take a big step forward this Thursday, as they begin dumping contaminated water back into the Pacific Ocean.
Well, I mean, it's already very warm in there, so don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like radiation is just heat. What are you on about? No, so Jamie's written in the margins here, I'm not a scientist, but the International Atomic Energy Agency apparently has at least one on staff, and they say this is all fine. The water has been filtered thoroughly, and although some radioactivity remains, it is much lower level than found in wastewater that nuclear plants dump as part of regular operation. Okay. That's great. This, combined with the fact that the Pacific is quite large, means that it will all be so diluted by the time any of it is consumed that the only risk is to homeopathy enthusiasts. Thank you, Jamie. So, yeah. He's also written in red here, please don't dwell too long on the fact that decommissioning a nuclear reactor that was flooded and destroyed by a tsunami is less of a hazard to public safety than when the British try to process everyday sewage. So that's all fine. Like, we're just going to glow a little bit more if we decide to visit the Pacific. What's the problem? I see no issues.
I don't know. I think irradiating some weebs is probably a good idea.
Yeah, it needs to cross the Pacific to do that, though.
I mean, I'm wondering if it'll combine with the Pacific garbage patch and just create radioactive plastic garbage in the Pacific too, I guess. That'd be pretty cool. Just fuck the planet up worse. What more can we do really at this point?
Bagzilla.
Just a big plastic Godzilla, one of the toys just comes roaring out of the ocean, glowing faintly. Yeah. Straight
up, it's just Shin Godzilla.
On the subject though of just Britain and its shitness, I do actually have some pretty really dire update. There's nothing else to say. The woke have gone too far this time. Queen's 1978 classic Fat Bottomed Girls has been banned to avoid offending snowflakes.
No, it hasn't.
Boy, I can't wait to see what the details of this fucking story are.
Yeah, I'm going to put my marker down and say, no, it hasn't.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm just skimming here. Oh, well, okay, not banned, but it has been removed from their greatest hits album, says Jamie.
Yeah.
No, hang on. Sorry, says, no, not that greatest hits album, but a new one aimed at a younger listener. But yeah, no, there you go.
Oh, who gives a fuck? Oh, who cares? Like, I mean, look, whatever. It's Queen. You like it. It's fine by me.
Straight up, who fucking cares?
Fun. Yeah,
you talk too long there. Just who cares? Who gives a fuck?
It wasn't a good song in the first place.
Well, no, I mean, I'm with Jamie on this one. The point stands. It was censored because today's generation are so soft. You can't even talk about women having big arses because they get offended. I mean, okay, actually, hang on, reading this. Oh, maybe a clarification here. Actually, it was excluded from a new Queen compilation, good lord, aimed at kids because there's a verse in it about being molested as a child. Oh, okay. Fucking wokes, man. To round us off, though, we've got Nugget Delta in case of emergency here, so I'm going to crash this open. Rejoice.
Minutes in, you definitely are.
Yeah. Deeply unpopular Twitter replacement app Threads is getting a website version.
Wow.
Oh, that's good. That'll fix it.
Yeah, because that was definitely the problem, and not the fact that logging onto Threads is like that guy that invited every intellectual property in the video game area to a birthday party, except it's fucking brands.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I thought you liked Chuck E. Cheese for your birthday, Alasdair. And
oh
look,
boy,
Optimus Prime's there.
Wendy is my friend. Ronald McDonald is my housemate. Yay! This is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh, Game Master Anthony, you were just ahead of your time. Apparently...
just Grimace constantly stealing your yogurt in the morning. It's a fucking nightmare is what it is.
Me and my friends would have killed Grimace with hammers, I can tell you that much.
Just don't ask how we make the Grimace shake. Right, users will be able to write posts, like posts, and look at posts. But
wow.
Wow.
The future is now.
They finally invented the technology to leave a comment on the internet.
Hang on. Let me put on my ridiculous Apple £4,000 ski goggles to see this fantastic invention properly in 3D.
No, Rob, desktop.
Yeah, but I want... Okay, but can I rotate it like a PDF, or...
Well, maybe, but unfortunately the technology to send a DM or edit your profile is still going to be decades away, so yeah, great. It also won't have a search function either, but that's apparently just because the web app doesn't either.
It's because it can't handle the amount of fucking collected data.
I mean, what is the remind me again, apart from it's just Zuckerberg flailing around desperately trying to be relevant, what is the point of, like, Threads, or I know the point of Facebook is where racists can hang out together. It's
so that algorithmically you can see Ellen DeGeneres have a frank and funny conversation with ExxonMobil. Like, that's the only fucking reason for it.
End every single fucking tweet you ever do with sponsored by the British Petroleum Corporation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so that the Burger King can team up with, I don't know, fucking name your celebrity here, Billie Eilish, and tell you all about the wonderful good work being done by Nestle
doing Billie Eilish
child
dirty
nutrition.
There, I think.
I mean, okay, maybe.
I've never seen any of Billie Eilish's posts, and that's only a point in her favour.
Wow. Hillary Clinton is telling us a lot about what can be done for world health on this platform, along with Bill Gates.
So you see what I fucking mean?
But yeah, apparently Mark, and Jamie's written Mark Karate Zuckerberg, alright, is still optimistic about the platform though, and who wouldn't be when his opponent is Elon Musk, and has already fled from the gladiatorial arena. So
but I mean, is it like the the real end boss basically like just TikTok, or am I not seeing this correctly?
No, it is. Who would have thought that a Chinese platform, it could, well, it's not even properly Chinese, but go figure, would end up being better than anything put out by today's capitalists. But it's okay, because, Musk actually has a plan to tackle this, which is to remove the block function from X/Twitter.
We're not calling it X. Stop saying X/Twitter. Just call it fucking Twitter. Do not give them the fucking...
Yeah, we are
on
not
this
I don't care what Jamie's
put
in the notes. We do not give it the respect it fucking wants.
Jamie didn't even write Twitter. He just wrote X, so I'm just...
Jamie copy-pasted that.
Possibly. I personally thought these were all bespoke, handcrafted notes, but, I mean, hey,
So you were on board with the idea of the Jamie replacement then?
Well, so we've got this AI, right? And we've been training it for some time.
No.
It's what Jamie would have wanted after he dies. Is for his likeness to be represented by an AI.
Oh, fucking hell.
That's your lot. There you go.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel really good about this. Fun.
Yeah. Alright, well, that has put the fucking fear up me because we're 25 minutes into recording and we've done the nuggets. So... Oof.
If it's a short one, it's a fucking short one. Who cares?
I mean, I thought it seemed a bit thin and tried to pad it with something, but it was...
yeah. Well, I mean, whatever.
I would just like to remind everybody that it is still like 30 degrees here, even though the sun has set a while ago, so, you know.
Oh, well, so long as you're happy.
I'm not happy, that's my point. Fuck you, bitch.
Now Rob's getting it.
Rob is too warm for sarcasm. It's like...
Okay, edit all this out, Jamie.
No, leave the bit in where I say, just make it short, who gives a fuck?
Do as you will.
Oh, don't say that to Jamie, God.
I have an article. It is once again from the Telegraph. Please do not switch off the podcast. Is
it less
mad?
insane?
Yes. It is less insane in some ways. It is slightly more insane in others.
I feel like this is like the beginning stages of a Stockholm syndrome that you only get from reading like the fucking worst dross that the media class in this country put out. It's not as terrible as the worst things you've ever read, but it's still pretty bad.
I mean, that's Britain.
Listen, they had to. At the Nuremberg trials, they had to provide some sort of framework of punishment and a hierarchy of it based on the sheer evils that had been committed. And unfortunately, I'm in that same position when it comes to reading the Telegraph. So, this article which they have not put a name against. So,
a mask of confidence there.
Yeah. Well, it's either a straight up, the Telegraph endorses this, but none of our writers specifically will. All have just fucked up on the website. Who can say? But stealing is wrong, but in left-wing cities, it's not a crime.
No, stealing is cool, and it shouldn't be a crime. Private property is the crime.
I love these cities that we turned into autonomous, like, anarchist territories where, like, there's no law and you can do as you please and private property has been abolished. Yeah, can't wait to move to one.
Yeah, there is a subheading of, without a law and order crackdown, the West will slouch towards authoritarianism.
Wait,
if we don't act more authoritarianly, then we're going to slouch towards authoritarianism.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it the authoritarianism of the woke left, or is it some other authoritarianism that I need to be worried about today?
Well, let's find out, Rob.
Is this I need to stick this knife in your chest so the serial killer doesn't stick a knife in your chest, the article?
It's a part of it, I suppose. If Marie Antoinette witnessed the decriminalised looting of stores that now regularly takes place in New York, Los Angeles and San Francisco, and which has recently been imitated in one of London's main shopping zones, the very unpleasant Oxford Street, she would no doubt exclaim, let them eat iPhones.
I mean, to be honest, Oxford Street is an extremely fucking bleak place to go at the best of times, so stealing from shops in that place is only, in my eyes, a good thing.
Yeah, I'm going to just hazard a guess here.
Oh no, not the M&Ms store!
The reason that you think it's unpleasant is definitely not the reason this Telegraph writer thinks it's unpleasant.
When I go to the M&M store, I always order mum spaghetti. It's really good.
Yeah, I may only think that it's a blight on the face of this country because it's an a horrid monument to, like, the worst excesses of consumerism and capitalism, but this guy thinks it's bad because...
Occasionally he sees a poor person.
Yeah, insert slurs here.
Yeah. Europeans, that's not the slur, who slavishly imitate America in everything except what is good or best in the country, have begun to take up looting like their American peers as a kind of unalienable right.
Good.
Sorry, hang on. Did he just... Wow, this is subtle. Did he just otherize and alienate, like, a whole bunch of people in the UK by declaring them Europeans?
Why not?
I want to learn more about the customs of my tribe and you know our attitudes to what is available in shop.
Yeah, you've got to remember that it's about soil, James, and this is still European soil, just continentally.
All right, so we have the soil. All we need is the blood, and then we're really going places.
Oh, we'll get to the blood, I'm sure. These are no starving mobs. They are, quote, disaffected youths who have been instilled with the idea that they have been denied what they are entitled to, and that therefore theft is restitution. Impunity is the power of the powerless. Photographs show looters in attitudes not merely of pleasure, but of triumph, and theft is their revenge for what they think is injustice.
You create a society where it's like, you know, to quote the devil's advocate, you sharpen, you know, the human appetite to the point where it can split atoms, and then you say to everybody, this is good, and this level of, like, this little selfish ball of selfishness is what you should aspire to be and become for the rest of your life. And then you look around and go, oh, when people actually start stealing shit. Like, come on.
Well, it's also, like...
Crime turns people into Tim Allen.
But it's like, you know, in their defence of it, it's not just that they live in a society that's completely alienated them from anything approximating community or, like, you know, belonging and, you know, devoided them of meaning. But it's also, you know, like you said, Rob, it's sharpened this and said, look, okay, you don't get community, you don't get belonging, you don't get support, etc., but you do get stuff.
Yeah, you get treats. You get the treats.
Yeah. And then it said, oh, by the way, fuck you, you're not getting any treats. Like, what do they expect to happen? Like, you know... And not only do they say, I mean, it's even worse than that. It's not just a fuck you, you're not getting any treats, but it's fuck you, you're not getting any treats, live in misery, and look, 15 years from now,
James,
you're all dead.
I can't believe you're besmirching honest entrepreneurial businesses, like mom and dad businesses like North Face, that fucking M&Ms store, you know, cultural national institutions.
Icons, if you will.
I mean, it's kind of funny. There's been repeated things that have shown that when there's riots in cities, the corner stores which are well known and integrated into a community tend to get left alone. It's not universal, obviously, but you know, because a riot is a riot and things get out of hand. But like a lot of the time, it's like the impersonal, you know, big box stores that get raided, and you know, if anything, the smaller stores are kind of collateral. Because it's almost like the people doing the raiding have like a sense of inherent justice that this is appealing to. I'm guessing though that this Telegraph article just doesn't acknowledge that in any way, shape, or form. There's no justice in this.
It's just because in the corner store you can't get the center fold out of the lady M&M.
Oh my god, they've looted the Primark on Oxford Street. Where am I going to get all of my tatty fucking Harry Potter shit now?
Coming into a house and seeing, like, you know, Mad Max style, a big live, laugh, love sign has just been kind of plastered and hoisted above the door as a trophy. It's like, yeah, okay, great, awesome.
Me driving the doof wagon into the front of the M&M store. Yes.
The problem is that we have an intelligentsia on both sides of the Atlantic that believes something similar. Or at least pretends to do so for the sake of appearing generous and broad-minded.
No, they don't.
Fucking virtue signalling.
I'm sorry, even the most, like, okay, let's pick America. Even the most mainstream, right, and keyword mainstream, left-wing figure, which is probably, like, God, AOC or Noam Chomsky or, you know, one of them, right? even they would be saying how this is bad and, like, talking it down and, saying it's unacceptable, etc., etc. Like, you don't get anything approximating the public discourse saying this is cool and good, actually. It's left to weirdos like us with podcasts.
I'm sure the DSA are all over it, James.
Poor lambs, they think.
The DSA sending a letter of solidarity to the M&Ms store.
Oh, poor lambs, they think. The lives of the littles are so deprived that they have no choice but to steal such basic necessities as Nike sneakers and flat-screen televisions when they get the chance.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Have you tried buying a CRT TV these days, honestly? Like, they're fucking expensive as hell because, like, weebs want to turn them into their fucking games arcades.
Yeah, I literally know someone who is involved in running, like, a Smash, I think it's Brawl or whatever the second one, Melee, right?
Yeah.
Like, they need CRTs. They need CRTs to basically do that unless they emulate, and getting a hold of them is fucking impossible, And when they go, good luck getting them repaired. It's an obsolete technology. Everything's flat screen now. Like, this guy isn't just, like, 10 years out of date. This guy is, like, 20 years out of date at this point.
Yep. They may not be well educated, the looters, but they are educated and intelligent enough for some of them to use the social media. The social
Well, they are intelligent enough to send smoke signals, yes.
To organise raids on such a scale that it is difficult to stop them.
Organise raids? What? I'm sorry. Are youths getting into longboats? Do I have to man the fort as Lindisfarne again? So,
did you not get the telegram, Rob? Planning to raid H&M High Street? Stop. Is this a good idea? Stop. No. Stop. Doing it.
I mean,
anyway,
they're a pain in the ass. Like
stop.
You tried to raid the Nike store. You got to get 40 people together. You got to make sure you have enough healers, and then you need to get a guy in an armored puffy so he can be the tank. It's a nightmare. I'm telling you. You should commend these people for their organizational skills.
Rob, you'll be even more mad when I finish that sentence.
Oh no.
That is, even if there were any will to do so.
Sorry, could you rerun that sentence?
It is difficult to stop raids of that scale. That is, even if there were any will to do so.
Oh, a will to stop the raids. I thought there was no will to do the actual raid. I'm like, then what the fuck are you worried about?
Didn't we last week do an article about how the police stopped a raid by catching
I think it was a nugget. In Britain, the police have been long so emasculated and demoralised that they have been rightly called paramilitary social workers. Do you know what?
That's fantastic.
Oh, my old man's a provo with an intervention guide.
Arguably, yes, they have rightly been called that, but the problem is that they are paramilitaries being fucking, given jobs of social workers when we should just have social workers doing those fucking jobs.
What's the deal with this big red hand outside New Scotland Yard? I wonder what that's about.
Drunk social workers yelling in the middle, coming outdoors in the middle of the night and singing "Come Out You Black and Tans" at the nearest police station. Yeah, all right, why not?
Oh my god, this is fantastic. Just importing the troubles wholesale, but one side is the fucking police, who are social workers, and the other side is a bunch of rowdy youths who want their iPhones. Yes, okay, great, sure.
They have come to see their role as the protection of people's feelings, or at least the feelings people claim to have, brackets by no means the same thing. What the fuck does that mean?
This person is living, forget living on the moon. They're out there on Neptune, just absolutely removed from anything approximating reality. Just blows. How can you possibly let's unpack this a second. So saying the police are emasculated, fairly standard right wing talking point. The police are less man-like because they're not allowed to have their bat and a death 5,000 or whatever. Sure, okay. But then, they're paramilitary social workers who it's just I can't even begin to kind of piece this together. Whose task is to manage how people are feeling, or at least how people are saying they're feeling. So
because they're lying.
The police are there to manage some social fiction about people's feelings. Like what?
Well, they're doing that rather than the protection of their lives or their property.
What? Why? Why are they? What?
They're not. At the same time, they
sitting here with my
look
balaclava on, loading my feelings into an Armalite. Yeah.
At the same time, they increasingly look like enforcers at a fascist party rally of whom only the law-abiding are afraid.
The police. We're talking about the police here.
They're talking about the police.
Right, the police are fascists coming after ordinary people. This is so bizarre. This is this is like someone held up a bunch of left-wing commentary on, the nature of the police as in social reproduction, and put it against a funhouse mirror, and this is the result we've got. I'm just really confused by all of this.
Yeah.
What's Krista head? Krista Dick's head looks like such a distortion like that.
Unless the they has changed here, and the protection of their lives or their property, and that's the they there, and they're talking about the youths because they were wearing balaclavas. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm confused. I genuinely don't fucking understand. Much crime has been de facto decriminalised thanks to a seeming unwillingness to detain and prosecute perpetrators. Signed off by liberal district attorneys. So we're back in the US.
District attorney.
Yeah, we're back in the US.
Now, I really want that Law and Order sting, like the doink doink from. And the district attorneys who don't prosecute them.
Law and Order or bikes coming up behind you? You decide.
I just this idea.
In Sadik Khan's London, it could be either.
Don't get him started on e-bikes. So there's this whole thing where it's I guess that in his diseased mind, right, okay, so first of all, he's a columnist, so all of this is just horse shit meant to justify, but to the diseased mind of the audience he's targeting, the police are underfunded and not able to deal with routine property crimes, nor are they interested in doing it. And nor do they care about any of the people they, presumably are said to. They don't actually give a shit if Mavis has been robbed or whatever. She's not rich. They don't care. So this translates to, it's been decriminalised and it's all the wokes have made it happen, rather than actually, the Conservatives have spent literal decades defunding the police and gutting their ability to actually do basic enforcement, on top of the fact that police have never really cared that much about property crimes against people who don't matter, and sorry, under neoliberalism you increasingly don't matter. None of this, it's all just the wokes have done it. The wokes are why the Bobby on the beat suddenly, will charge me with a hate crime when I start going off on one in the local Tesco. The Bobbies on the beat are, they have been captured and institutionally gutted, so that now they're here to police people's feelings. It's a new kind of fascism, isn't it? Just absolutely.
But they're
Facts
right in
don't
one
care
thing.
about your feelings, but by God, the police do.
I mean, they're right. Whoever this is, they're right about one thing, which is the UK is the only sort of fast drifting weirdo economy that is also at the same time willing to take the hammer to its police forces. No other country is doing that. So, in the sense that, there are no cops to look after, the burglaries and stuff, because we've talked about this previously on the podcast. But it's it's not as if, if we gave the cops more cops, then they wouldn't do that. It's just I don't know. That's kind of a much bigger fucking problem.
Yeah, but this is why it's the liberal district attorneys here. But also, how they've done this is bail conditions were massively reduced and dropped altogether in some cases, allowing antisocial criminals to re-enter society within 24 hours of arrest. In such circumstances,
what's the crime? But what's the crime? Is it I mean,
that's for the police to worry about, not you.
Did they steal one M&M? Was that the problem?
It was a succulent Chinese meal.
In such circumstances, it's unsurprising that many businesses have felt compelled to flee the leftist-controlled strongholds like San Francisco. Yeah, that's it. It's not the fact that no one in those cities has any fucking money because of the insane levels of gentrification. It's definitely not mad shit like that.
Just going to Google San Francisco union density.
Yeah, also Google San Francisco effective tax rate of corporations.
just to follow up, 12.6% of workers in San Francisco are unionized.
Yeah, go figure. Oh. I bet you it's all bidmen and stuff like that too.
57% government, 43% private.
Yeah.
So far as I understood it as well, it's like one of the problems with San Francisco in particular is like it's now so expensive that even like the average tech person can't even fucking afford it anymore. They're not fleeing, rampant crimes and knives. They're fleeing, the fact that even they can't fucking afford to live there anymore.
Yeah, it's fucking turbo Edinburgh. Everywhere's a fucking Airbnb that charges you a month's rent for a night stay.
It's also like, and one of the other problems with San Francisco and others on the West Coast generally, which is like it's a national problem, but it's not going to be dealt with by the United States. Like, we keep going on about the homeless issue. So there's the whole Reagan emptied all the psychiatric, wards, etc.
Yeah, care in the community is what Keir Starmer keeps talking about when he talks about mental health.
But also, like, homelessness is such an endemic problem in the USA that the homeless all move to the West Coast because they're not going to freeze to death in the winter there. And so it means it's higher concentrations. You're starting to see it increasingly in other cities as well, though, simply because of global warming. So on the plus side, global warming will average out the human suffering across the whole US. But none of this is uniquely, like, yes, there are problems with the way San Francisco is and, like, Los Angeles and the rest of them are governed. But most of it has nothing to do with, actual left-wing people whatsoever. I understand this man is talking bollocks because it helps spin a narrative, but at the same time, it really upsets me how fucking severed from reality all of this is. Like, not even tangentially in contact. Like, this most basic research makes all of this crumble.
Every Telegraph article we read is like just a fucking Amanita Muscaria trip,
Yeah.
It's like my eyes are dilated. The shadow man is watching over as I just scrawled shit on the wall to submit my next article with.
You're channeling the higher truth of the king in yellow to tell you the youths all need to be locked up. Like, it's fucking, it's crazy because like all of this totally and utterly depends on zero media literacy. None. Which I suppose is no surprise then that every chance they get, they go on about media studies classes, etc. Because it doesn't work if your population knows, like, this seems a bit wild. Maybe I should do a quick Google search.
Getting Slender Man to run the next 24-hour courts is going to be part of Keir Starmer's Labour project.
It's good to see a goon getting work.
But the virtual legalisation of looting on the two coasts of America goes beyond anything as yet done in Europe. Even until quite recently.
So why are you writing this in this stupid paper then if it's not a fucking problem in Europe yet? I mean, it should be a problem in Europe because it's cool, but,
Maybe Rob,
he's trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, maybe he's going to say we have to send our troops over to fight it there before it's a problem here. Maybe that's where this is good. Maybe he's proposing the invasion of America. I don't fucking know. That sounds about the same as the rest of this article.
Yeah. The most localized surge of all time is like when 50 squaddies crammed themselves into the M&Ms store. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to have... you've got to have peace and control at the M&M store abroad before you can have peace and control at the M&M store at home.
A clear build and hold strategy in the aisles.
I've just realised we've been besmirching the good name of the M&M store because it's. I've just remembered it's in Leicester Square, not Oxford Street. So yeah,
it is safe from roving hordes for now.
As far as this podcast is concerned, if it's in London, that means it's all in the same place.
Yes. I mean, how big can one place be?
10 square miles?
Even until quite recently, the idea that the law should disarm itself in the face of mass criminality would have seemed the stuff of a dystopian novel rather than reality. This was written by a lawyer.
the law disarming itself. Yeah, because like in America, where the law is armed, you say that the problem is even bigger. So what? Like again, I ask, what is it going to do? Like giving the cops armor lights. What is that going to do for them?
Look, we're not going to rest until every looter in the M&M store has been gunned down.
Also, small caveat here. Pretty much every dystopian novel is about the state getting more aggressive and criminalizing more stuff. Like, fucking, what dystopian
Yeah, but
novels
remember, if you don't do a short, sharp crackdown into authoritarianism, you're just going to have a slow decline into authoritarianism. So why not get it over
all
with?
at once?
Yeah.
Me standing in the rubble of the American candy store on Oxford Street with a bullhorn saying, and pretty soon the looters will hear from us. Yeah!
See, the way I think it would work is, like, much like if you decriminalised all drugs, the use overall would decrease. If you decriminalised loot in the M&M store...
Much to think about.
Yeah.
What I'm more concerned about is we keep talking about the M&M store, but at no point have we suggested that they should go to the big Tesco and deal with the riots in the cereal aisle.
Yes, exactly. The real problem facing this society.
It is the reductio ad absurdum of the theory that the purpose of the criminal law, is not to suppress the manifestations of criminality, but to sympathise with its supposed causes. Take Mariana Mazzucato, economics professor at University College London, who appeared to believe the TikTok organised disorder on Oxford Street might be connected to a lack of public swimming pools and community centres. It fucking is.
Yeah, I mean, also I really like the idea of the criminal law, as if there's a guy called Law running around, like just hoovering the M&Ms.
Yeah,
I don't
every time
understand.
somebody tries to arrest him, he says, "I am the law," and he just walks.
Yeah. It's a perfect camouflage, mate. That's why I chose the name. It's great. Love it. Yes.
There's only one man who can free him, Crime Cop.
To catch the law gone rogue, you must criminalise the police. Like, yeah, this is a right-wing drama waiting to happen.
Just Judge Dredd on his big motorcycle with like a trail of M&Ms rolling around behind it as he skims away from the scene.
The disorder that has resulted would surprise or fail to alarm only intellectuals of a certain stamp. They are accustomed to looking at everything through the distorting lens of some semi-academic theory that makes them feel good about themselves.
The distorting lens of looking at why things have happened.
Is this by any chance the distorting lens of cultural Marxism that I've heard so much about?
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Either that or it's the distorting lens of evidence and detailed policy review and like looking at the world as it actually is rather than as we politically require it to be.
So that when they see young people joyfully taking what is not theirs, hardly a new phenomenon in human history, they do not see criminality, much less wickedness, but the supposedly natural consequences of an society.
Alright,
society.
Is this a fucking 4chaner that's written this?
Fuck those.
Guest edited by The Guardian.
Yeah. In which the things of this world are unevenly and therefore unjustly distributed. Yes. To suppress those natural consequences would be to heap injustice upon injustice, at least until the consequences of official inactivity come to their area. Even those most sympathetic to criminality tend to become less so when it approaches them personally. Oh
no, my M&M store. I'm about to open one on Oxford Street, and this is striking fear in my heart.
This is just but what would you do if you needed the police? And it's like, well, I wouldn't fucking get the police in the first place anyway, so why entertain the thought that I might need the police?
I look forward to them turning up a week from now to give me a crime number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like as soon as you actually take that to its logical conclusion of people who are supportive of criminality, what are they going to do when it lands on their doorstep? And it's like, okay, they do call the cops, and then what?
Yeah, the police have one actual function that they can still semi-reliably carry out, and it is act as one of the first stages of claiming on your phone insurance. That's it. The potential demonstration effect of impunity is obvious, and the old advertising slogan, "Why pay more?" becomes "Why pay anything?" And everyone sees in these events, the looters and the law-abiding alike, a society's loss of faith in its right to demand anything of its members.
Yes, labour is entitled to all it creates. That's what we've been saying.
Yeah.
So like there's a fucking germ of some truth in here, which is that the social contract is completely breaking down because government just, government doesn't actually do anything for anyone increasingly. Like, we've spent years getting across this idea that government can't do anything good, and when Corbyn came along and bucked that, the class which had been working on it had a collective panic because they're like, oh my god, we can't let them realise they can expect things which are good of their government.
And they've doubled down on that. Like, every single fucking person on the right has fully doubled down on the idea that good things are definitely not possible. Those centrists will tell you they're not, we're telling you they're definitely fucking not. But they've taken it to such a fucking point now that, that social contract is starting to break down because there is, like, a hole where the fucking post-war consensus used to be entirely now. There's nothing left of that. The edges of that fucking hole have been scraped dry. The scenes of organised looting that only a short time ago would have been deemed incredible, if not impossible, raise important questions. Do they? How is it possible that in a democracy, people with ludicrous notions, such as that looting should in effect be decriminalised, have achieved power and influence?
Have they? Have
they? Yeah, that's a really good
done
person.
this. Like, point to this fucking individual. Show me them right now. You can't. How are they able to retain electoral supremacy? Even when what they do is so obviously against the interests of the vast majority of the population, and perhaps, brackets, ultimately, of the minority itself. What?
Is he saying that Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson and the rest of them are fucking woke soft libs who want to decriminalise? Is that where this is going?
The most deranged of the fucking Telegraph heads have been saying that the Tory party is communist for years now. It's just it's one of those tapes that you just see sometimes. It's okay, so you're fully on board the 5G caused COVID bandwagon and all that shit because there's the one time the state was motivated to do something in the last 30 years, it just happened to be under a Tory government.
I think what this article is doing, because it could well be that, but there's no name to it, so I don't know for certain. But what I think it's doing is it's making American arguments and just wholesale copy pasting them onto Britain with no fucking care for anything more than this is the message I want to get across.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right there.
Yeah, a guy who's only ever lived in the US, in the UK, getting a lot of US vibes.
Yeah, it's what's probably going on. So let's take a step back and let's actually pop the hood and figure out what's behind this. I strongly suspect that this kind of article is basically being funded by exactly the same people who are funding all the right wing AstroTurf shit in the US, and it's probably backed by the same experts. And so what's happening is rather than finding your local equivalent homegrown right wing fuck job over here and going, right, what are the arguments that would work for the UK? Instead what they're doing is they're importing a shiny slick 20 to 30 something fascist from the United States and going, so I want you to take the good work you've done for our local news stations and import it into the UK. Now here's a bunch of walking around money to make it happen. And because they're from the US, they've got no fucking idea about anything really to do with local politics, and so they're looking at Rishi Sunak and the rest of them and going, oh yeah, these guys are communist, and it's totally divorced and not very effective, but just for sheer volume, they're trying to get it across, and it's having a bit of an effect. Probably only because of COVID.
Is on brand for the Telegraph, at least.
Yeah, true. But it's there is an element of this which is at core the reason this even partially resonates is because there's a whole bunch of small c conservative people who have woken up slowly and surely to the idea that they no longer matter. They no longer are respected. Society, neoliberal society, doesn't need them, has moved on without them. All the things they were told about how much they would matter and how they were central to the world has, like, proven to be false. And they're casting around looking for someone to blame. And, the whole, like, COVID shit and all the rest of it is kind of broke their minds. And rather than wake up to reality as it actually is, they've basically ran toward a kind of fascist position, because at least the fascists are kind of opposing neoliberalism, even if they don't call it that.
It's a semi-coherent alternative.
Yeah, and emphasis very, like, that's a load-bearing semi, essentially.
Yeah, it's aesthetically coherent as much as, on the surface you can make arguments that at least draw people in the right way, and there you go, you've made a fascist. Like, it's a thing that can be done, and history tells us that's entirely fucking possible. It's because it's very easy. It appeals to base, like, feelings, and that's all it has to do.
It does, and I like I said, I strongly suspect that this kind of article is a result of, like, American-funded astroturfing. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those societies that we went over previously on the pod, is behind, like, has got the connections to make this happen, essentially. They're having their conferences, they're making the right minds meet, they're saying, hey, I've got this article I'd really like to get placed in your paper. By the way, would you like to come along this summer to our retreat? It's going to be held on a yacht. It's going to be like 12 days, like this kind of shit. It's like, yeah.
There is a small island nearby.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Peter Thiel is, like, tied up in this somewhere, essentially. Like, this is what it feels like is behind this kind of shit. Because this is not... This isn't entirely homegrown lunacy. Like, we get that. It is full of, like, Americanisms that have just been wholesale imported. I think that's why. That's my supposition.
It continues, why does the electorate not rise up when it sees the quality of life in its city deteriorate so obviously and dramatically? Why
does the working class not simply eat the other classes as the largest class?
All as a consequence of a problem that in theory is so easily solved.
Wait, so it is correct for the people to rise up and, start rioting, but only to protect the M&M store, just so we're having this
but they don't have to, is the point. He's saying that they don't even have to, because it's an easily solved issue. But the easy solution isn't, why don't we, like, fund some fucking community centres and maybe, like,
a swimming pool,
restore some sort of social welfare. No, It's not that. It's, why don't we just simply send in the cops?
Well, I was reading online recently several comments basically saying, we could solve this problem permanently if we just, like, looked the other way for 24 hours and let the police do what had to be done, sort of shit.
Oh, yeah. So, the Purge, what a great fucking foundational text for a society.
Like, even the funny thing is, even the Purge movies did, like, this political bent where they did this one Purge movie where it was revealed that the origin of the Purge was literally fascists setting it up, in order to, like, take out their opponents and justify their rule, etc. So, like, yeah, life imitates art.
Wonderful. There is a grave danger in this conjunction of circumstances. When people who do not look at everything through the lens of theory, brackets who are still the majority, see the authorities impotent, either voluntarily or involuntarily, in the face of the most obvious and blatant wrongdoing, they themselves feel first impotent and then angry, for the authorities are failing in their most elementary duty, and indeed the very duty for which they were originally set up.
All of that is true. All of that is emotionally true. It's just not about law and order. It's about, hey, I'd like my bins collected once a week, and hey, I'd like to be able to get my teeth done on the NHS, and, like, basic shit.
Yeah. Then comes the authoritarian temptation. If the present system does not work and cannot preserve reasonable order, we need another that might do better, for disorder is the worst of all political afflictions. This is how...
The problem with fascist Germany is it was too disorderly.
Yeah. This is how a free democracy falls apart and an authoritarian regime takes its place. So
This is how democracy dies.
Is worried.
To the thundering, to the thundering
With
sound
1,000
of a mob
M&Ms hitting the floor.
Yeah.
Now I've just got let 1,000 M&Ms bloom in my head, Alasdair. Thank you for that.
It's just fucking like Captain Send in the Cops here really fucking wants us to do that so that we can avoid fascism. It would be fascist if we didn't send in the cops, actually.
Yeah, the thing you need to understand is those fucking communists will come along and do a fascism unless we deal with it first.
Breaking news, there is in fact a cop M&M.
What?
Okay, right. Park in the car a second. Go on, Alasdair.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a JPEG for you on this audio medium, so this is going to be really good. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. I'll paste it to the patrons later. Wow. Yeah. Hello, Officer M&M.
Yeah. He's got the face of a cop. Bold, smug. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that was the article. Like, do you feel enlightened? Because I fucking don't.
I feel like I've got some kind of traumatic brain injury after
Yeah,
that, honestly.
I've read that fucking 3 times now, so how do you think I feel?
We've learned a lot
much...
about the M&M store that isn't on Oxford Street.
It's very much a kind of like, here's a vibe, and if you think about it, it breaks down. Don't think the vibe, essentially. Vibe as politics, which I suppose in some way it always has been, but it's quite interesting to just how much that is not based in any degree of like actual rational thought. It's all just words to summarize a kind of nebulous feeling of rage and direct it. And yeah, I guess great, sure, why not?
Yeah, people are really upset about things. Here's what I imagine it to be.
Yeah,
I have taken some...
The Telegraph is just like fucking archive of our own, but for some of the weirdest people out there. And I'm aware of the discrepancy in what I've just said there, and I stand by it.
It's like they basically turn around and like they give their audience massive doses of hallucinogens and then act as a guided trip sitter for them.
Yeah, Amanita Muscaria.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The actual physical Telegraph is just blotter paper filled with that shit.
Jesus. Would explain a lot, actually. Finally, you've cracked British politics.
Just getting contact highs from just the Saturday supplement, the Saturday opinion supplement, yeah.
Are you honestly telling me, Rob, that if you picked up a copy of the Telegraph, you wouldn't be left feeling delirious?
I probably would. This is why I don't do that.
Exactly.
Kids are doing the Telegraph in warehouse raves these days.
It's the Telegraph and Jenkum.
All right, well, I think that'll do us for this week.
Well, actually, David, we're not going to wrap up just quite so quickly yet, because I have gathered before you some comment and commentariat from various sources of online. So I thought we should, play a little game before we close the episode.
Yeah, Rob's gone under the sofa to find only the most premium hairy M&Ms for us.
Is it an M or an M?
All right. There are multiple reasons for the Prime Minister to seek a good working relationship with Mohammed bin Salman and Saudi Arabia, and a public handshake is bound to be part of the Saudi leader's price for that. For a start, other European nations are already courting him in a bid to grab a share of the lucrative Saudi defense contracts that Britain has traditionally dominated.
That's all right then, That's cool. If we're not a merchant of death, someone else will be.
Yeah. What you think of the jobs, James?
I think they're very job-like, Job's a job. I hear that, ammunition manufacturers are all heavily unionized.
So, is it comment or commentariat?
Commentariat.
Commentariat, yeah.
Comment.
It is commentariat. It is Patrick O'Flynn in the Express. The title of the article being "Glad handing the Saudi despot is a dirty job, but it must be done."
I'm sorry, but we've got to wank off the fucking petro state that's doing a bunch of fucking crimes against humanity. This is a response to some ULEZ, basically. This is a ULEZ thing. Non-compliance is the only way to defeat these people.
in brackets, and don't be fooled by the Tory v Labour scam. Two cheeks of the same disgusting backside. If
Did
everyone,
fucking James O'Brien write this shit?
if everyone, or even just the majority, refuse to pay, the whole system crumbles. They cannot prosecute all of us. They rely on our cooperation and acquiescence. We have strength in numbers, like a water droplet that is nothing in isolation. By joined together with all the other droplets, we become a mighty ocean. Refuse to pay.
That's comment, and it's inspired by that speech in The Simpsons. Love it.
This is a comment. It's in the from the Daily Mail.
I mean,
I was thinking comment really loud there.
I mean, whenever someone says like Labour and the Tories are two cheeks of the same arse, that is literally a turn of phrase that originated with James O'Brien, because that's what Jeremy Corbyn's Labour and the Tories were, and like, you know, the brain poisoning that is required to be James O'Brien, and it just makes me like. I'm not going to say irrationally angry. I think rationally very angry.
I really like the idea of a don't pay campaign, but for like ULEZ fines. It's a good kind of niche.
Yeah, like don't pay this actually quite good idea to keep London from the air in London from killing children again. Still,
also, it's not don't pay the private company. It's don't pay the fucking government. That'll end well.
The monarchy is absurd, of course. It exists on the flimsiest notions of deference to descent, that because an individual is someone's son or daughter, they have automatic right to great wealth, live in umpteen palaces and castles, and be the numero uno in our relationship with the world. It sort of works. It sort of works, but only if we like them.
There we go.
And here comes the... No, this is the real but. But would you curtsy to Harry or Meghan? Would you rejoice as they wave triumphantly from the balcony? I think I would rather sing La Marseillaise as I rode down the mole in a tumbrel.
I mean, can I just put it to this person? I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't like any of them. It's just like Harry and Meghan are like the least annoying of all of them, I suppose.
Because they're the least royal of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously Harry's had an entire life of like fabulous wealth, but also he has been hounded by the absolute dog shit that is the British media. So, like, yeah.
Comment. Actually, no.
I just really like the idea that, you know, we must keep the monarchy and its, you know, inherent contradictions of, you know, the magic vagina and such, like, but only if we like them. It's like, no, that's the exact opposite to the point of a monarchy. You have to keep them even if you don't like them, because otherwise it's not a monarchy, it's just fucking Love Island.
Commentariat. I'm going Commentariat for this one.
Commentariat, yeah, that seems just the right level of deranged for like a Telegraph article or something.
David?
Commentariat.
It is Commentariat. It is Judy Finnegan writing in the Express. And last but certainly not least, the mind boggles when it comes to Sadiq Khan. In many ways, he is a faceless phantom, a fascinatingly bland Labour apparatchik, incapable of original thought or phrase. And yet,
here we go.
Somehow he has managed to build himself into the consummate dictator bureaucrat, London's own answer to Leonid Brezhnev or Raul Castro.
Amazing! Yes!
Yeah, he had me going in the first half.
Sadiq Khan managing to seduce his own assassin. Yes, let's go, sure.
That actually would whip, to be fair.
That's a small... Castro literally did that.
No, I'm aware, but if Sadiq Khan did it...
Yeah, it'd just be amazing. Just, oh man, I love the idea that Sadiq Khan, like the CIA are bumbling around attempting to assassinate Sadiq Khan with exploding cigars, but he doesn't smoke. Like, yeah, great.
Sadiq Khan seducing the guy in the fucking van that was on his way to, like, attack him and Corbyn that time.
Is that comment or commentariat?
Commentariat.
I'm going to say comment.
I think... I mean, it's quite well... I think Guardian comment. I mean, let's go with that.
It's Commentariat. It's Sherelle Jacobs writing in the Telegraph.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
I was off with my Telegraph guess by one.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
So that's your little bonus. Little bonus comment on Commentariat.
Good stuff. Well, that's comment on Commentariat, and that's the episode as well then. If you are getting sick of my inability to escape the labyrinth, which is the Telegraph opinion section, good news. Next week, we will not be doing an article read. Next week, we'll be covering the creative industry strikes, Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA, etc. So look forward to that. And we will also have the bonus episode out within the next week or so. So if you
if you like non-article reads, that's where I spend way too much time going insane over the government's actual levelling up fund. So you can hear all about that if you pay us.
Yep.
It's more interesting than I make it sound, I promise you.
It is. Actually, before you get into that, David, on the subject of the SAG-AFTRA strikes, I know that some of our listeners have like cachet and are attached to that world, so you have time before next Tuesday if you want to get in touch. If there's anything that any of the unions would like us to cover as part of our coverage of that dispute, our DMs are open. Please get in touch.
Yeah, and also do our homework. Thank you.
Yeah, pay us and do our homework for us. This is a good situation that you can get at patreon.com.
Yeah, this is the future the left wants.
Which will get you access to that episode that Rob was talking about, but also access to the Discord. Come into the Discord, post in the Discord. We are also there, and it's a good place to post. I am still undergoing Twitter withdrawal, so please do join us there. Also, you can get Twitch streams Wednesdays and Thursdays, which is twitch.tv/praxiscast. That's usually kind of evening time, 7-8 o'clock-ish. And you can get merch available at praxiscast.tmail.com. And until the next episode, we'll see you then.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.